Hi, I'm Stephen Christoph for TOS50.com, The Other Side of 50. I'm standing here in Millstone Township, New Jersey, with my good friend Wayne Dubin, Vice President of Bartlett Tree Experts. Wayne, we're standing next to a tree that's scheduled to go to ground zero. This is one of the memorial 9/11 trees, as we're coming up on the 10th anniversary of 9/11. I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about these trees that are here.
Well, we've been caring for almost 500 swamp white oak trees over the last 4 years, and these trees come from 6 states, 6 different nurseries in 6 states: New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Ohio, Illinois. Is that 6?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think that's 6. And they were purposely selected from nurseries that would have a similar climate to Lower Manhattan, that would be tolerant of a similar temperate zone, and would also be representative of the states where people were lost on 9/11. So there was a deliberateness to picking trees from those states and from within a 500-mile radius of where the attacks took place. So about 5 years ago, we got involved in this project with a company out in Texas that their specialty is moving trees, and they needed someone whose specialty was caring for trees, and so we kind of partnered up on this project. And the folks at the 9/11 Memorial wanted to have these trees conditioned to the Lower Manhattan climate well in advance, and so they staged them here about 50 miles as the crow flies from Lower Manhattan, and they boxed them up using these boxes that were built by the Amish. And the whole idea of having an above-ground nursery is so that there's no root loss when it comes time to moving the trees. They can be moved at any time of the year. They're not digging them out of the ground as you would with a tree spade. They're simply taking off the sides of the boxes and losing the bottom, putting metal sides on them to transport them to Lower Manhattan, and dropping them down into a planting site on the 9/11 Plaza. So the roots at this point, after 4 years of these trees being in these boxes, have expanded all the way to the edges. And if you took off a side here, you'd see roots almost perhaps as thick as my pinky, right to the edge of the box. And so when they get installed at the 9/11 Memorial, they're not going to skip a beat. There's not going to be any root loss. There won't be any important roots that are cut. And even if they move them in December or January or February, it's no problem, because they're not trying to have to dig into frozen ground.
Can you tell me a little bit more about how these trees have been cared for since they were brought on the site?
Well, we have a really sophisticated irrigation system. Every tree is on these bubblers here, and they get about a gallon per minute. So each bubbler delivers a quarter of a gallon per minute, and we do the equivalent of 10 gallons per inch of trunk diameter per week. So if we say these trees are about 10 inches in diameter, then each tree is getting about 100 gallons of water per week in order to keep them properly hydrated and healthy. About 25% of the trees have electronic sensors, ribbon sensors, that go all the way down vertically into the bottom of the box, and they're attached to a computer up at the office trailer, and those ribbons determine the soil temperature and the soil moisture, and they turn the irrigation system on and off based on thresholds established for soil moisture and the needs of the plants. We treat them, we sample the soil a couple times of the year and have it sampled for nutrients, and then we fertilize at least once a year. And
are they fertilized through the irrigation system?
No, but they will be. That's a great question. They will be at the 9/11 Memorial. They'll be fertilized through the irrigation system through a process called fertigation. We're not doing that here. Here we do a combination of liquid fertilizer that's injected beneath the wood chips here down into the root zone area, and some micronutrients, because when we do the sampling, we've discovered that there's a lot of leaching because of everything being above ground. There's a lot of micronutrients that need to be periodically replaced. This mulch needs to be reapplied and has been reapplied many times over the course of the 4 years. We treat the tops of the root balls many times throughout the course of each season with with Roundup to keep the weeds suppressed. As you see in the field around us, the weeds are growing like crazy. We can't have that in the boxes here. We don't want a competitive environment for water and nutrients.
Thank you for joining us for part 1 of Stephen Kristoff's interview with Wayne Dubin discussing the 9/11 memorial trees. Be sure to view the second half of this interview here on TOS50.com.